interviewing Jamie Metzl in like 3 minutes.
In like 3 minutes, yeah.
What is?
So I thought, come on, just make.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, dude.
I was going to say, what's the expertise? What is the topic?
Oh my word, this guy is just. I've been watching his videos for the last week almost, and he's interested in so many things. And only yesterday, like an hour before the show, I saw a video that really piqued me, like personally. He's done so much different stuff. Whole week. Well, sort of. Maze, that comment was horrible. I'm not gonna. I might not read your comments now, motherfucker. No, don't. Where you going? Come back.
I just didn't want to interrupt.
No, he's commenting. He's given me a shitty comment, and then now he's given me a nice comment. So you can't slap me and give me a cookie. Fucking hell. Yeah. So so I watched a video about the future of. I can't remember what the damn video is now. I should remember. Let me get it up. I got 1 minute.
Pull it up on your phone. Are you using your phone to broadcast?
No, this is on my computer. Does it look awful? I'm just outside.
No. It looks about like mine. Yours and mine are about the same pixelation. It's okay.
My phone would give me wonderful. Like I'm sure if you used your.
Yeah, my Pixel 7. Yeah, it would look good. See all my nose hairs and everything.
You see my nose hairs?
Yeah.
I think it was, what was it? I'd watched so many videos, and then that is, what is genetic modification? And
CRISPR.
Yeah. No, and then he talks about that we'll be choosing our own like futures, that we'll be directing our own evolution, and
I mean, we will be if we're editing genes. That's artificial selection.
Yeah, and then how bad that could be. Another comment. I got to not look at the comments somehow.
What if you could? What if you could CRISPR genes in such a way that neurons start to become more influenceable, controllable?
How so?
So where people could be after birth, they could be genetically programmed to be more susceptible to, say, control or influence or.
Could see that happening. I mean? Could see that having already happened as well.
I'm being conspiracy theorist strongman here, or steelman, excuse me.
We had a new person join. Sorry, you just reminded me. A new person joined Pangburn, and it so happened that everyone was in the conspiracy tab, and he kind of lost his shit and said and ranted at us all, a big long rant about why conspiracy theories is like, dude, we're not normally all in the conspiracy tab. None of us really believe in a conspiracy. You were there, Travis was there, you were on mute, and he said, everyone in here believes in conspiracy. I said, no, they don't. You just Marcus was there. He said, Marcus does. Only Marcus. Yeah. It's really funny. I don't think he'll come back. Yeah, not Marcus's fault.
Can't do that.
Right then, so it's 10. I'm going to play my music. Well, no, I'll play the music and then just carry on chatting. Oh, no, I won't bother.
I wanted to let me know when I need to exit.
You could stay up here. I think just stay up here. Oh no, well yeah, I'll come down and then come up and then stay up. I don't know whether is there rules to how we do this.
You only want him and you on. You only want. Is it a he or a she? I'm sorry.
He.
Do you want just you two up there when you're talking?
I don't know. That's how it normally starts with other people. But then I'm okay if you stay up here and then.
Yeah, what I'll do is get off video until you've asked them a few questions and stuff, and then maybe I'll pop up. You know what I mean?
Oh please, you'll have. I'll go through. Let me just get my book. Oh shit, I was lucky.
Yes.
I'd have lost this bad boy.
I wanted to be on your show, see the show, the first show, Hohenheim, and I was kind of kicking myself because I was extremely tired and I just passed out, man. And then,
you're yesterday?
Yeah, and it's like, and then I just woke up as, god damn it, and I'm like, I noticed you, and then I was trying to look it up. I wanted to watch it, and I didn't see the video. You didn't post it.
Yeah, I could have posted it. It was quite funny. Me and Tree, me just going swearing because I'd missed it and got the day wrong, and
Is this
Had a
like a
chat with
part
Tree.
2?
No, this is the first part. Yesterday I messed up. It wasn't yesterday. I was just me reading Mace's comments. What if you could turn your brain inside out so the whole universe is your brain?
So you didn't interview the person you were supposed to interview?
No, I was a day early. So
Oh, that's good then. So it worked out. Good.
yeah, bloody good.
I'm glad to
And
hear
more
that.
people are here.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So glad you could make it. You could join us, dude. So
right.
glad we got the best gang here. Where you gone now? You just disappear.
Me?
No, Nivik. That's it. That was fast. How'd you do that?
Oh, is Nivik coming on cam?
You're interviewing
Nivik
somebody, aren't you?
Is he? Are you coming on the camera, Nivik?
Huh?
No.
No, that wouldn't happen. Please don't do that. Actually, that would be sad. I don't want that. Should have a build up, and people should pay. Yeah. Conscious Pilot and Marcus think the moon landing was fake. Yeah, loads of people do. Loads and loads of people.
Where'd that come from?
Comments.
No, the camera.
No. The what?
Nothing. No, you're asking me if I was coming on camera.
Yeah. Because Thomas, I think I said something. He heard it as that, and then I heard what he said. And yeah, you coming on camera? No.
I don't think he is. He don't want to talk about it. He's like, no, I'm not.
No, why'd you even ask? Fucking idiot Hohenheim. Yeah. Wonderful. So he's got his one shared world, which is his kind of I need to ask him to talk about this one shared world.
Are you gonna? Is it gonna come in a little bit later or any second?
I'm sure he's getting ready, downloading the app. Maybe his first time to the app. That's the usual thing. One shared world. Sign the pledge of interdependence. Fucking amazing, this guy.
You'll do fine.
He's really cool. He's really no.
Are you sure you want me to stay on video while you're talking to him? Or I don't mind jumping down.
Oh no, stay here. But just you could just turn off the video and just be here ready when he
Yeah, I'll just turn off my video and mute. Yeah.
That'd be cool. He'll just make me want to have a cigarette, a cigar, or something.
Yes.
Kathy, Salman, thank you for joining us, Salman. And Travis and Mace, thank you, Travis, joining. Sorry, poor Travis got up for my show that was the wrong damn day. So it seems like it was just a poorly worded sentence to me. That's not how I interpret what he said, though. I don't know what are you talking. They showed me a clip where they think Bulge Aldrin is no one to the bean to the moon. Yeah, no, I think that's a hoax. I think that's been doctored, or he's talking about something else. I think I don't know. He said it twice, didn't he? Jamie, here he is. I will invite you to speak. Okay, he's here. Hi, Mr. Dr. Metzl, Dr. Jamie Metzl. You can unmute yourself, and if you want to come on camera, if you don't, that's fine too.
The mute and the camera buttons, Dr. Metzl, are at the bottom center of the page.
Camera is preferable. Yeah, it would be lovely to
there we go.
See you. Hi.
Guys.
Good
sorry
morning.
About that. I was here on time. I was just poking around at a lot of different buttons. So I finally made it.
Yeah, no, do we have a delay? Because we normally do. I just want to check. The first time I've ever asked this.
It's not so bad.
Okay, good. It seemed like a. Okay, good.
It's not so bad, I say, after a delay.
Yeah. So I'm so happy you've joined us. This is the Pangburn Hangout. So we have a group of individual kind of broadcasters, all different kind of things. And mine, of course, is Futurism. As you can see, my avatar is a cyborg. So I'm so happy you joined us. And over the last week or two, I've been really get to know you. And it's been an absolute pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. You covered so many areas. And then yesterday I watched your YouTube video of Oh, don't mind. I've changed it. What is genetic modification? I think when you're speaking on the stage, and this really was close to my thinking, and I was just hugely inspired then. So I added a load of questions to the
Great.
somewhat dry questions I have. So I'll just introduce you briefly to everyone that's listening. Jamie Frederick Metzl. How am I? I'm pronouncing that all wrong, aren't I?
Perfect. You got
Metzl.
it. No, you did great.
Born 1968, American geopolitical commentator, author, senior fellow at Atlantic Council, former partner at global investment company. This history is amazing. Author of 5 books, including science fiction model novels, Genesis Code, Eternal Sonata, and then non-fiction Hacking Darwin. This is such an awesome topic. Genetic and Engineering and the Future of Humanity. And then he also ran against the Kansas Mayor, Emanuel Cleaver, for the Democratic nomination of Missouri's 5th Congressional District, a former executive vice president of Asia Society. And you've done a PhD of Asia. This is very interesting. I have one question that was the very last question I added to my list: South Asian History of Oxford University. In my school, we're actually trying to make a curriculum on Southeast Asian history, and we can't find a good textbook. If you know a really good one, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll look.
Yeah.
But,
we've been looking for years. I think around 14 years, the school has been looking for a textbook to teach Southeast Asian history. I'm going to have a drink of water. So I'd like you to introduce yourself a bit, if that's okay.
Sure.
Is Dr. Metzl okay? Am I saying?
Yeah, I prefer Jamie. Dr. Metzl is my dad. Dr. Metzl is my dad. Yeah, so thrilled to be here. I don't deny anything that was said in my introduction, but and when people describe me, it's like a lot of people have jobs with actual names. Like if someone's a dentist, they say, "What do you do?" I'm a dentist, and everybody knows what that means. I'm a quote unquote a technology and healthcare futurist. I spend a lot of my time thinking about where the world is heading. What does it mean? What's at stake? And most importantly, what are the value systems that we need to be deploying to make sure that all these incredible technologies end up making it possible to live a better, healthier, safer life for everybody, and don't turn into really the makings of our undoing. I have, as you were exactly said, I've written 5 books. I'm now deep in the middle of writing my next book, which is tentatively titled The Great Biohack: Recasting Life in an Age of Revolutionary Technology. I have an investment fund, the Wisdom Tree Biorevolution Exchange Traded Fund. I'm founder and chair of a global interdependence movement called One Shared World. It's oneshared.world is the URL. And I've been, maybe we'll talk about it, deeply involved since early 2020 with the issue of pandemic origins. And my basic position is that we need a full and comprehensive investigation. China is preventing that. We need to examine all origin hypotheses, including I'll add another very, very, very likely possibility that the pandemic stems from an accidental lab incident in Wuhan.
Yeah, you've covered so many points there that I want to go down. My mind's just pulling me in all these different directions. The first one, my first note here is the One Shared World, and I had a quick look into this, as I did the many, many, many different things you're into. Could you talk a little bit about this, because it looks incredible, especially the tagline. I can't find it. What is it? Sign up now. I can't find it now. I think when you join
the tagline.
Sign the pledge.
The tagline.
Sign the pledge of interdependence. Yeah. Sign. That's it. Sign the pledge of interdependence.
Came up with that one. I hope people will sign the pledge of interdependence. But basically, the biggest problem in the world, as I see it, is the mismatch between the nature of the greatest challenges we face, which are common and global, and the absence of a framework for addressing that entire category of problems. And we see the manifestations of that mismatch, the manifestations of our collective action problem, when they show up in things like pandemics, like climate change, like proliferating nuclear weapons. But if we just try to address those issues one at a time, and we don't try to ask ourselves, well, what is the common root of all of those problems, we're going to be continually jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire. Solve COVID-19, but not solve pandemics, it's no victory. Solve pandemics, but don't solve climate change, it's no victory. Miraculously solve climate change, but don't solve proliferating nuclear weapons, it's no victory, at least for us. And so the common theme is that our species has very rapidly advanced from a bunch of small bands of roving nomads without so much of the ability to do planetary scale harm to where we are now. And if we don't evolve a political and governance system or systems to match these capacities, our greatest inventions and innovations will plant the seeds of our undoing. That's One Shared World. So just the history of One Shared World, I gave a talk about this in the earliest days of the pandemic. That went viral. I stayed up all night. I drafted a declaration of interdependence, and that went viral. I called a meeting. We had people from 25 countries come together. And so I said, hey, here's the problem. What can we do together to fix it? We formed this organization, One Shared World. We redrafted the Declaration of Interdependence, which is up on the website. And that was 3 years ago now. And so we've had a whole series of programs where we get millions of people in our public events. We have youth leadership initiatives around the world. I certainly encourage viewers and listeners to go to oneshared.world.
I'm there right now, and I'm looking at your Declaration of Interdependence, and I'm going to be signing and joining if I can be involved in that in any way. It just seems absolutely awesome.
Wonderful.
And if I can get my school involved possibly as well.
That would be fantastic. Wonderful.
I'll try and get as much as I can. It's amazing.
Great.
Yeah, I don't know where to take my mind now. We've got a lot of things here. So I'm on the same vein as you. I have, although not as in my own mind. So I see the world as the biggest. It's like a ship on fire, and we keep putting out small fires and never actually dealing with the big fire that's going on around us. My idea is I won't go into those here. We're here to talk to you, not me. So, so the next thing, please, everyone, check out the this website and everything that is going on there. It looks absolutely amazing, and I'll read that later. Everyone, please leave it. In fact, I'll put the link to that in the chat, and you can all have a look now. So there it is. So the next thing, you're known, and I know now why you're known. Well, and I don't know why. I've watched your videos about COVID-19, but you'll have to tell me now. The original COVID-19 whistleblower. How did you get that title?
So I don't know. I got that title because people started calling me that. But the reason why people started calling me that is that in early January of 2020, like everybody else, I was saying, what's going on here? And it's the way I function. I just started diving into the available evidence. And like everybody else, I was seeing these reports. Well, it comes from the market in Wuhan, and it seemed to make sense. I know there certainly have been other pandemics, like the first SARS, that spread through a market in Shenzhen, in Guangdong, in southern China. But then the more I started looking at the evidence, there was a fundamental mismatch between the evidence I was seeing and the stories I was reading in the mainstream media. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I believe in climate change and all these kinds of things, but there was a mismatch and it didn't make sense to me. And so I started digging even more. And it was just pretty clear by late January of 2020 that the pandemic did not begin in the Huanan seafood market in Wuhan. And it seemed more and more possible that it very may well have stemmed from a lab accident in Wuhan. I'd recently been in Wuhan before the pandemic. I think most people, when they heard this story, most people, at least in the United States, they were imagining Wuhan as some backwater where a bunch of yokels were eating bats for dinner every night. But Wuhan's an incredibly sophisticated, wealthy, well-educated city. It's kind of the equivalent of China's Chicago. So I knew that wasn't the case. This isn't a place where people are normally eating wild animals, or some people do it, but And I knew that Wuhan did have the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which was China's first level 4 virology institute. I very quickly learned it had the world's largest collection of coronaviruses, that it had a very spotty safety record, that it was doing extremely aggressive research, attaching human-specific receptor binder domains to SARS-like viruses. I mean, it was like they were doing the exact research that could lead to exactly this kind of outbreak. And then we had exactly this kind of outbreak in that place, which is more than 1,000 miles away from the natural habitat of the type of horseshoe bats that had been the ancestral carriers of this virus. And so it seemed pretty darn likely that it came from a lab, and the case has only strengthened over time. That doesn't mean I'm 100% certain, but it's pretty likely. And here in the United States, we just had, over the last couple of days, the Department of Energy has shifted its assessment of origins from we don't know to it probably came from a lab. And I'm sure when people listen, they say, well, the Department of Energy, what are they doing? They must be dealing with our electrical outlets and things like that. But the DOA runs America's system of national laboratories like Lawrence Livermore National Lab. It has some of the best scientists, tens of thousands of the best scientists in the world working for it, including physicists, chemists, biologists, and others. So it was actually a very, very significant shift.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning in another video that it's like people were working on putting a horn on a horse, and then suddenly a horned horse.
Yeah, that wasn't me. That was my friend Alina Chan. But what she has said was that it's like if somebody was imagining putting a horn on a horse, and then you had a unicorn showed up exactly where that person was, you wouldn't say, oh my God, it's a miracle of evolution. It's like, wow, maybe that person did what they were trying to do.
Yeah, and the unicorn engineers just, no, it wasn't us.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. I'll move. I'm sure people have questions about that. That's a big one. I'll move on. Let's see. You said that, I think you said that the biggest problems in the world were created by bad decisions by leaders. Was that you that said?
Yeah. I didn't say totally. That it's something like, I mean, the leaders reflect us in many cases. I mean, not in authoritarian states. But connected to interdependence and one shared world, our leaders haven't failed us because they haven't represented our national identities. As a matter of fact, our leaders have in many ways failed us exactly because of that. We have given our leaders the task of advocating for us at the expense of everybody else, without realizing that if that is the case in many issues, we'll be harming ourselves by undermining others. And that's why the pandemic is such a great model for just the basic reality of interdependence. If we're just about protecting ourselves and we could care less about people, and particularly in the poorest parts of the world and the most vulnerable populations, we're not going to be better off. We're actually going to be worse off, because in our interdependent world, every one of our safety, health, and well-being reside in many ways in everybody else. And so investments that we make, for example, in strengthening public health infrastructures in the poorest countries of the world, we shouldn't see that as charity. We should see that as an investment in building a safer world that will benefit everybody, including ourselves.
I'm going off my plan here, but I don't see right at the end. I have what are the possible futures? So it doesn't seem like we're going anywhere good. I'm the same as you.
Well, I'm not a pessimist. I'm actually an optimist, but for the optimistic scenarios to be realized, we just have to organize ourselves. We have to get rolling. And I think that the scary visions are important, because if we don't have them, we'll say, well, let's just kind of keep coasting. And it's not inevitable that we're going to have a bad outcome. But if we don't fight for a good outcome, it increases the odds we will have a bad one.
Yeah, I'm really hoping, and I'm trying for a good outcome, and I'm invested kind of in the metaverse. Well, not invested monetarily, but invested with my hope.
Yeah.
And that's where I see the world going. And I see transhumanism being an incredible thing, and us designing, although your comments on us designing our own evolution and the problems involved with that. And we discussed that a lot on Pangburn, is the problem with diversity, and then diversity being the solution, and the conflict of those two, that we could be, when we try to be too diverse, then we make everyone the same. But if we welcome diversity, then we have diversity, which can give us the what you call the
resilience.
Yeah, it does give us definitely the resilience, and then it gives us the things that go wrong that could be right. I've forgotten that word. Sorry, it's been a long day. I've been looking after hundreds of students, feeding monkeys in mangrove forests in Thailand.
Wow, wow. Where in Thailand are you?
Bangkok. But we went down.
Which school are you?
It doesn't matter. I can say no one watched this. Hohenheim Advent International School. I don't know if you know that school.
No. Where is it? Where is it in Bangkok?
It's on Ramkhamhaeng.
Okay. I love Bangkok.
So now everyone knows who I am now.
Yeah, well, there's only 19 people, but don't tell anybody.
I don't mind.
I love Bangkok. I worked for a summer in. There used to be a refugee camp in Panatnikom in Chonburi province, just south of Bangkok. And then I spent 2 years living in Cambodia as a human rights officer for the United Nations, but was just in Bangkok all the time. I'd been to Bangkok many, many, many times. And it's such a wonderful, wonderful city with so much energy. I just love it.
Yeah, it is. It is wild. And this place, it was 2 hours drive. I mean, it was down past towards Chaam, Hua Hin. And it took 2 hours to get there, and then we just got straight out of the boats and then straight out on the speedboats out to the mangrove forest.
Wow.
And then with buckets of, I don't know what the vegetable was, but buckets for the monkeys. And because we went there yesterday, I went there with different grades, the monkeys got used to us.
Wow.
And they were scared of the boats. The second day, they just invaded every boat, and all these kids were screaming. And
how
city
fun.
kids that have... Oh, it was hilarious. And then they had to jump out into the mud and plant the mangroves, and there was monkeys everywhere, people screaming. And then we took them out and we swam out in the Gulf in the kind of 3 foot in mud. And it was incredible.
How great. I just love it.
Yeah. Sorry, we've gone completely off topic. Yeah. If you're in Bangkok again and you want a free driver, I'd happily be your tour guide.
Thank you.
And it'd be great if you could visit my school. If I'm still there, I don't know.
Now that you exposed the name, these 19 people.
Yeah,
come visit.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I've been thinking they might join, but I haven't met any students yet online, and it's the kind of area they can go. But I'd be happy to, and it'd be great to have them here. And I'm chatting to people like you. It's an absolute honor. Thank you. I'll maybe let some people come in and talk, because I have a lot of stuff. I have one question, actually. I'm kind of obsessed with this. Free will. What do you think about free will and how that affects the future? And if we don't have free will, then...
I believe in free will. I mean, I know that there are all these people who say that we don't have free will. We're just like ants in an ant colony, and we feel like we have free will, but we don't. And everything is preordained. We don't have unlimited free will. Like if I want to become a magical unicorn, I can do it in the metaverse. I can't do it in my normal life. But we have a range of possibility, and we have, I believe, the ability to make decisions all the time to do one thing or another. And so I just think taking the idea, I know there are people like Sam Harris and others who are saying, well, we don't have free will, so why do we have prisons? Because people are just victims of their circumstances. And I certainly believe that genetics play a fundamental role in determining who we are. Robert Plomin in London is somebody who I have a lot of respect for. I follow a lot of what he writes about. But I just think that it's very dangerous to say that humans don't have free will. We don't have responsibility for our actions. I think that we do. We have a range of possibility, and we can do better or worse. And part of our responsibility as human beings is living in such a way that we increase the odds of positive outcomes for ourselves and everybody else, and we decrease the odds of negative ones.
I'm so with you on the increasing of positive outcomes, and we could talk about this all day. I'd love to disagree with you about the free will and talk about I disagree with the outcome being negative. I think, well, I've designed a whole kind of society based on this, that no one is morally responsible. So then we have to treat everyone kind of like sick robots and just direct them on their right path. But we won't go into that. We'd be disagreeing, and it'd be a good conversation.
Can
I'd
I
love
touch
to
on-
invite you back
Please?
to have that. Oh yeah, I'm going to invite you in now, Nivek, dude. So I'd love to talk to you about that. If you'd like to come back and have a talk about just that, that would be amazing. I'd love to convince you otherwise, and maybe someone will call and have a go, but I'll leave that to them. So I'm going to give it up to the floor, and I have two of the other broadcasters with us up on stage. We have Nivek and Thomas, and Nivek was going to say something, then I'll invite people to call in. It's quite late here, but I'm going to stay on as long as you can.
Yeah,
give us some
I've got
time
an hour. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that's when my wife expects me in bed, so she'll be happy.
Good.
Okay, Nivek, go ahead.
I have a theory on the free will. I think it's a bit of both, and I think it's like it's dualistic in where it's you and the environment. Yeah, the environment can make predicted probability outcomes, in what a person can do. You're only limited to your exposure in knowledge, but you're of the environment too. So what humans do as well can make changes to the environment as well in bringing about outcome. I think that unlike animals, human beings have the capability to see what can come down the road, and to make rational make changes in where you change the outcome of what was going to happen to something else.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there is a bit. It's a bit of both. It's like you have an idea by taking more information of the environment. You could end up changing the outcome to how you want.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, and I agree.
Thomas, are you there? He may not be there. Well, I'll move on to one of my.
Here he is. Yep.
Yeah, I'm
here. Thomas,
what's up, Jamie? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, man. So I missed it earlier. Your main area of research is
the future of the intersection of the genetics, biotechnology, and AI revolutions, and what they mean for the future of life.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot. Like, I talked to Dr. Roman Yampolsky about this kind of stuff. He's not a future studies guy, but he's an AI guy. He's done a lot of talks, worked with Elon Musk, stuff like that.
Great.
So there's a difference between future studies and like futurology, right? Isn't there some kind of divide?
It's all kind of made up. I mean, basically, nobody knows the future. The best that we can do is gather as much information about where we are, internalize the implications of technological trends, try to be as intellectually rigorous as possible. But at the end of the day, when you're talking about the future, it's most of the time kind of the most informed guessing as possible. So there are people who call themselves, friends of mine actually, quantitative futurists and have all kinds of things. But essentially what we're trying to do is just think about where the future may be heading. And for me, the reason why I do it is because I don't think the future is fixed. And if we kind of have a sense of what we can do to optimize the good stuff and minimize the bad stuff now, it increases the odds of a better outcome.
Yeah, I agree with you. So let's address the elephant in the room, CRISPR.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the number one biological advanced technology that like it's the biggest advancement in biological technology of the last 50 years, wouldn't you say?
It's hard for me to pick one because I believe that we're experiencing a super convergence of technologies. And so, like, there is no CRISPR without genome sequencing. And then,
Yeah,
and
genomics and
so,
stuff. Yeah,
so to kind of break it all, and there's no CRISPR without advanced computer chips. So, all of these technologies feed into each other and inspire one another. And so, but certainly, as I've written, our human ability to read, write, and hack the code of life is, in my view, the most important story of this moment in human history. And when I talk about CRISPR, what I say is like the big story is genetic engineering. That's the pie. There's a slice of the pie that's genome editing, and there's a sliver of that slice that is CRISPR. So CRISPR is an important tool, but it's a piece of that bigger story.
Right. Yeah. Genomics and genome editing is what I talked to Dr. Christopher Mason about. He elucidated a lot of.
Chris is a good friend. Yeah, he's a brilliant guy.
He's a great dude, isn't he? I love my talk with him.
Yep.
But yeah, so you know everything about what he deals with. But yeah, he explained genomics and bioinformatics and
he's
all the
wonderful.
intersectionality, like you said, of everything. You know, he explained all that to me. So
and I hope you promoted his next 500 years book, which is just a fantastic.
Yeah. We talked about that, and I told him I want you back on as soon as you're ready. So yeah, you too, Jamie. You got to come back and see us. This is a new platform, by the way. That's why there's only 20 people with us, is because this platform is still in beta. So we're still testing for the people who own it. We know them. So it's going to take a while, but we're going to get to where we're actually open to the public, and all these episodes will be available. You know what I mean?
So as was mentioned, I've written 5 books, and when you're on a book tour, that's what happens. You'll be like, one day there'll be 2,000 people in a huge auditorium, and the next day there'll be 3 little old ladies in a bookstore, and whoever shows up, even if it's one person, you give it your all, because every person is important.
I love that. Hohenheim, you still with us?
It seems like the ultimate stage of evolution, right, CRISPR?
I don't think CRISPR is the story. People are focusing on CRISPR. It's a very important tool. It's one tool. There are many tools and many powerful tools. And like I was saying before, these innovations inspire more innovations. Tools give us the capacity to create greater tools. So it's not CRISPR alone. It's CRISPR connected to AI systems, connected to high throughput laboratories and all sorts of things.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to go then back through my notes. I did mention that you don't think it's all ones and zeros. It can't be reduced to that. What do you think? So what do you think is under? What do you think is going on beneath everything? Then, if I can ask such a big question.
You mean life, or
like? So I'm a full hard materialist, hard determinist. I can't see, although I would class myself then as a Christian, but at the very strange Christian, and we won't go there. So I don't even like talking about it because it offends Christians and annoys scientists. So
So what do you think? Let me put it this way: I am not a believer. I mean, but I do think if I was a believer, then you would be forced to say that this God in whom some people believe gave us these powers, and it's up to us to use them wisely. But I always say, well, if God has all this, I mean, it's not like we have. I was saying, we don't have unlimited. It's like we don't have unlimited options. We have a range of possible options. If you believe in God, God has defined that range. And if you believe in God, well, shouldn't God have just defined a somewhat different range so we just increase the odds that good stuff would happen? But
we get into these talks and that exact question that you've asked just there many times on these shows. Go ahead, Hohenheim.
Yeah, so I'm going to go straight to Then I did signal next to this. You did a talk about the Komodo dragon and how this was such a. Listen to this today. I think it was the same talk. I listened to the 3 or 4 times because it was so much fun. And when the Komodo dragon baby is born, if the parent sees it, it just eats it straight away.
Yeah.
And
it lays the eggs, and then it buries them, and then it kind of forgets where it buried the egg, or she buried the egg, because if a Komodo dragon sees her baby, she'll just eat them. And for that reason, humans, we benefit from cultural inheritance. So there's just so much learning. You as teacher know that is just part of our inheritance. If any one of us were dropped on a deserted island and given the instruction to make a paper clip or a pencil, there's no way we could possibly do it. We're beneficiaries of all of this cultural knowledge. But a Lombard's chameleon or a Komodo dragon, they are just, all you get is your genetic inheritance. You're on your own from day one, and it's all just kind of baked in. And so it's a superpower of our species that we're able to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although then I think I don't think there's anything there. So I think we are kind of philosophical zombies, and we're the same as the Komodo dragon, just far more complex, and we're just going off. But I won't go into that. So, what do you think of the possible futures then? Because when I think of all these possibilities in the future, I'd love to see cities in the sea. I'd love to see solar and possibly like Dyson spheres and all this stuff happening, and jetpacks and everything that you can imagine.
May I interrupt you really quick, Hohenheim? Have you seen The Wall, Jamie?
No.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh really?
What is it?
Okay, it's a superstructure that they're planning to be able to build in the desert. It's kind of like, isn't it like a Saudi Arabian kind of technology?
So they're building that big linear city in Saudi.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
I didn't know about it as The Wall. Yeah. If they do
it, exactly where it is. They've started it though.
Yeah. No. So all kinds of crazy stuff from the perspective of today will be possible. And we live in a world that would have just been absolutely unimaginable to people just 100 years ago, let alone 1,000 years ago. I mean, 100 years ago, if someone said you can have kind of access to all the knowledge in the world and all the greatest libraries in your pocket, they would have said, no way. Or you could press a button and communicate with somebody who's not physically in front of you, or you could get from A to B without an animal. I mean, there's just so many kind of ideas that are just shocking from the perspective of people not very long ago that we just think of as totally normal. And so just a lot of crazy stuff is going to happen, some of which we can predict, some of which we can't predict. And that's why, for me, the name of the game is being really clear about who we are and what are our values as we navigate our way forward. Because if this is about the technological innovation on its own, and the consideration of values isn't part of everything we do and every decision we make, we're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, agree. And I just read the first pledge in your Declaration of Interdependence. Yeah, it looks amazing. Yeah, I think so. What do you think? Do you think there can be a universal? I'm sure you believe in the Universal Declaration of not. I'm saying the thing now. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Yeah,
do you
absolutely.
They should be. Do you think they should be enforced?
Well, absolutely more strongly. I mean, this idea that a state has an unlimited right to murder its own citizens is just crazy. I mean, I absolutely think that every person is born just with a set of rights, not given to them by their government, but just by being a person. And I think I absolutely believe that. And it's just terrible that we live in a world where so many people are denied just the basic right, including the right to live.
Then how because that's where I can see the future going. So we'll have this war. We could have like Dyson spheres, but then it seems like we'll still have the massive difference between rich and poor, and like a massive majority of people just suffering.
We will if that's who we are. And so, I mean, certainly we have the resources in the world today so that nobody should be desperately poor. Nobody should not have access to healthcare. Nobody should not have access to food. We have more than enough capacity to make that possible now. It's a statement of values that we live in a world where billions of people are living in abject poverty, and small numbers of people are living in such wealth and splendor that they have to spend money on just crap. And that's a choice. If we want to
Jamie, I looked this up the other day.
Yeah.
There's 21.9 million millionaires in the United States.
Yeah.
21.9 million millionaires. And there's 500,000 homeless people.
Yep. And it would be so easy. And it would be so easy. And I get that there are deep kind of social, cultural, economic issues. But let's just say we forgot about that and we just said, we're just going to just give people cash. Just give people cash. And then you can only, and like we could say, you get this much per month, and this percentage of it can only be used on food, and the food it can be used on is only whatever seaweed, quinoa, and broccoli or spinach, whatever you want. But we could so easily and quickly eliminate abject poverty, eliminate hunger, all of these kinds of things. We are making a choice every day not to do those things.
Can I ask you a reason why you think that's the case then? If there's no excuse for that, but it exists.
I think that humans have a built-in us-them model. Like I'm just going to accrue as much for myself, or we have different philosophies that have woven into our political systems and structures. And certainly I'm a capitalist. I believe in the capitalist system, but it needs to be tempered with other things. So communism hasn't really worked as an organizational principle. But I think that somewhere there is a balance, a value system where people think, hey, it's just not okay for people to be living poor. And there are societies that have done a pretty decent job of realizing those principles. People look at places like Northern Europe. Yes, there's a lot of wealth, but not all of that wealth, like Norway's, comes from oil. A lot of it comes from social organization, from values. And so I think that we do better and worse in different places, and we should learn from the places that are doing better, and we should challenge ourselves to think differently. I mean, there have been big shifts in how humans think about just the rights and responsibilities of themselves and other people. And so this isn't a thing where our models, I mean, there were times when killing very, very recently, very, very large numbers of people was considered totally okay by other large groups of people, and that's changed. And if we want to have a world where it's just not okay to have so many people living in abject poverty and fear and hunger and all of that, we can build that, starting with ourselves and starting with our norms and values.
I have a theory that the pandemic could possibly be a bioweapon. And I was wondering how you feel about that.
I get asked that a lot. And as you know, I'm deeply involved in the pandemic origins issue. I definitely do not think it's a bioweapon, just because it would make so little sense. I mean, it comes out of China, and it makes so little sense. Although I do believe a lab origin is most likely. What I think the most likely case is it was a research accident. There were researchers who were trying, maybe in good faith, but secretly and under poor conditions, to try to develop something like a pan-coronavirus vaccine. And there was an accident. This is just a hypothesis. They didn't realize what was happening for a little while. And by the time it became clear, and by the time the Chinese national, and then the local authorities, maybe a few of them knew something and they tried to cover it up, because if you're a local authority doing something like this, you're going to really get screwed. So I think they tried to hide. And then the national authorities came in, and it was 3 weeks to a month after things were starting to blow up. And then they had a choice. And the choice was totally coming clean, saying that we had a lab accident. It's spreading. We want the world to know. And we call on our local officials in China to be absolutely transparent when this kind of crisis emerges. And then what happens? The Chinese government is overthrown in about 15 seconds because the entire Chinese government is based on suppression. It's based on not allowing this kind of, I mean, if the Chinese government were honest, they would say, well, 45 million Chinese citizens died unnecessarily in the Great Leap Forward. We need to be honest about that, but they're suppressing that.
Yeah, that's true.
Right now, there's a massive campaign to call COVID zero one of the great victories in Chinese history. So they are in the business of recasting reality. And so then they said, all right, if we come clean, it undermines us domestically, and then we own everything that happens internationally following this point. If we just suppress this story and fight and prevent any kind of investigation, both nationally and internationally, I think they thought we have a fighting chance of getting away with it, and that's what they're trying to do, and that's why I've been so hell-bent on not allowing that.
Jamie, a quick question if I may. Real quick, Nivet, real quick. Oh man, I had it on the tip of my tongue.
Well, let's go to Nivet, and then when you think about it, we'll come back.
Yeah, go ahead, Nivet. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that it shook up the social order, and that's one way if you want to make change, even though it's probably a messed up way of doing it, is using Mother Nature. Mother Nature is very powerful, and
well, it happens. Yeah, I mean, it certainly just happens. The question is intentionality, and so, but every time there's a big shift like that, it shakes things up.
I wouldn't believe that, but that's what the plague did with the feudal system.
100%. Yep.
It destroyed its social order, and it made a change. So I don't believe that, but in a way, it kind of would. It's not a. I mean, like, conspiracy wise, it's not like the idea is not that bad if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, China's authority.
Well, no. Well, I would say it's not that bad. I mean, it's bad if you. I don't think it was an intentional bioweapon, but if it was, it would be bad. If it was a lab accident followed by a criminal cover-up, that would be bad. If it was a market origin connected to illegal but condoned trade in illegal wildlife, that would be bad, followed by a criminal cover-up. So there's a lot of things. So just to say that the social order gets shaken up when there's a crisis, I mean, that's true and almost always the case. But I don't think it means that, it wasn't so bad. It just means that these kinds of crises shake up the social order.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in here. We only have about 10 minutes left with you, so I'm going to get you some big questions here. What emerging technology do you think will transform the nature of conflict in the next decade? So, or what emerging, I'll rephrase it, what emerging technology is going to have the biggest effect on the power dynamics of the world, maybe?
So as I was saying before, it's hard to answer that question in terms of one single technology, because the fundamental experience that we're all going through now is this super convergence of multiple technologies. But absolutely the link of stronger computing systems, and if quantum lives up to its promise, that will be a huge increase in computing power, AI systems, and then the ability to manipulate life. Warfare is always a big driver of change, and has been for at least the modern history. So I think we're going to see all of those kinds of things, and basically our world, the technology is going to happen. It's a race between the people who are fighting to make sure it can be used as responsibly as possible, and then the people who are going to say, well, what kind of negative stuff can be done? And you don't even need that many of those people to do some serious damage. And then you can also have, as may well be the case with COVID-19, well-intentioned people who unleash these scourges upon the earth. And we may have seen it with COVID-19 and virology research. We could see it with AI systems. I mean, look, that OpenAI was created to promote the responsible use of AI. They shifted from being a nonprofit to a for-profit. Then they rushed ChatGPT out the door.
Yes, they did.
As a commercial decision. And then they launched an AI arms race. So OpenAI sparked the exact opposite thing that of what they were created to do. So then we saw Bing kind of, I mean, in a way going crazy, but in a way we kind of unleashed a system that has its own logic. I don't even like the word artificial intelligence. I just think of it as alternative intelligence. We're creating an alternative intelligence. And we should have I think we should try to do our best, at least, to make sure that this alternative intelligence is as benign as we can design it to be.
Yes.
Oh, I think we should be making a new soul, new beings, new life forms. But yeah, I won't go down there. We got a caller here, so I'll bring him in. We've only had one caller, which would be great. So we have Bob. Bob, we have just 5 minutes left of Dr. Metzl here. So be succinct.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Right. Wonderful. I've never actually read any of your books, but I have read some of the books of futurists, and so I actually have a little bit of a question. Most futurists predicate all of their predictions upon the pace of technology either staying the same as it is during our lifetime, which is absolutely not the normal of human history whatsoever, or accelerating. I have a question. What's the plan for if it slows down? If we don't have that, then we're kind of creating if that possibility takes place, which it is a possibility, then we aren't ready for it, and nobody seems to have an answer for it. That's my first question. My second question, which kind of leads into it, is AI is seen as like the big key to unlocking all of these next technologies that are coming in the next 10 years or so on and so forth. However, ChatGPT, as you said, is rushed and everything else. It seems to have this desire to tell us what we want to hear as opposed to telling us the truth. And which kind of leads into what if the next... I guess maybe desire is the wrong word, but still, it's still spitting at us what we want to hear, as opposed to what's real. And so that kind of leads into my last question. What if what we're actually producing is just more feel-good feelings, and we're not actually going anywhere with it? And if that's true, do we have a plan for that?
Great questions. So it's my view that most likely our technology is accelerating. That's certainly been the experience over recent decades. But if it slows down, which I don't expect, but should that happen, that will actually make us better able to actually handle this kind of change. The biggest challenge is the acceleration. In terms of ChatGPT and these AI systems telling us what we want to hear, I don't know if they're telling us what we want to hear, but so far
it's better expressed as it's reflecting us back at us.
Yeah. No, that's
shoot, I can't remember the name of the actual chatbot that was spitting anti-Semitic BS at us within 12 hours of its
Microsoft K.
There we go. That right there. Like, first of all, like our own nature kind of corrupts anything that we create, and if it spits us back at us, then it's not actually the tool that it's been sold as. If I mean, I can really get into the nitty gritty and everything, but if it's just spitting more of us back at us, then we're not actually creating anything alternative. Do you kind of see where I'm coming from here?
So in 2016, DeepMind's algorithm AlphaGo studied all of the human Go masters games and internalized that knowledge to beat Lee Sedol, who was at that time the leading human Go champion. The following year, in 2017, AlphaZero, which was a new program, didn't study the human games of Go, but was given the rules of Go, and it took playing against itself for 3 days to reach and then rapidly exceed the Go playing capacity of AlphaZero. Of AlphaGo. Right now, our AI systems like ChatGPT are using the internet and Wikipedia and other manifestations of human knowledge as their training set. But that training set is going to run out at some point, and these AI systems will have the ability to learn, quote unquote, learn based on their programmatic designs, and that's going to lead us to an interesting place. And that, again, that's why we need to really be thinking about ethics, values, parameters, rules, regulations, governance, all of these kinds of things now. So I don't think we know what our AI systems will deliver. And I don't think we know what the truth is to say, all right, you should only tell the truth. But the training sets that these systems will increasingly train on are messy, untagged training sets. And in my view, that's the challenge.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is like, well, these messy training sets in and of themselves are the flaw. Like, we're the problem. Sort of the Christian viewpoint.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I just think it's just the reality. Obviously, I don't believe in original sin. It's just that we have.
Yeah. I don't really either. I'm just saying, like, but we are kind of the problem.
Bob,
anyway, my bad.
It's okay. We've only got Jamie for just a little bit longer, and he's got to go. So
it's
no worries.
I'm
out.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, thanks, Bob.
Thanks so much, Bob.
I have a real quick. It's real quick.
Okay, dude.
Jamie, are you about predicting the future or more about rapidly advancing humanity into it?
I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I certainly, I'm not a fortune teller, nor do I ascribe to be. I have my own sense of where we may be heading. But as I've said before, my biggest focus is to say, well, here are some possible futures. Here are some better scenarios. Here are some worse scenarios. And what are the things that we can do now to give us the best chance of having these rapid technological changes lead us toward a better place and not a worse one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree. Then I'd just like to say something to Bob, and then I don't know if you'll agree, Jamie. I think ChatGPT. Well, I'd disagree, Bob. I've argued with ChatGPT since it came out. Every conversation I have, I disagree with it, and then it understands the disagreement and then explains to me what it did with the mistake it made. It's like speaking with a genius gentleman. It's amazing, and I think it should be I think it should be used in every school. It being banned in education seems absurd to me. That they have now this, and banning phones I think is absurd. But anyway, sorry, I'll ramble on. It would be amazing to talk to you again, Jamie. If you could come back another time, it would be fantastic. I'd be happy to talk with you and debate about all this kind of stuff. So
we could go on forever, but I really enjoyed the conversation. I look forward to keeping in touch.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you so very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, guys. All righty, bye.
See you, bud.
Bye.
Well, I'm going to go to bed too. I'm beat to hell. I'm so beat. 2 days of monkeys. My word, it's been absolutely nuts. Yeah. This guy's awesome, Jamie. Thank you so much. He's still with us. So I'm going to put the link for Discord in here. Thank you, everyone, for turning up. I can't do it on my computer. Can someone help me here? I don't know why. I can never
Travis,
find the
help
damn
us
link,
out.
and there it is.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jamie. And thank you all for turning up, waking up this early morning to chat with this wonderful man. And he answered all the questions I had, actually. And the questions I had from Tree from ChatGPT, a good recommendation is to ask ChatGPT for good questions for your guests, because I had another 20 questions, and none of those, only one from the ChatGPT, mine are my personal ones. So, yeah, head out to Discord now. So I'm going to go to bed, and you can all carry on in Discord. I'm not going to be there. What the fuck? Mace, I nearly asked your time.